Hey, it's James, Father's Rights and Resources, hashtag how I got custody. I'm going to talk a little bit about all these sovereign nation, nobody has jurisdiction over me arguments real quick. I just had a guy who sent me 20 different texts that I don't have time to read and I'm not going to read. He said he sent me some emails. He's texting me. He's texting me right now, telling me about some research that he did and stuff. That's great. I just posted a video about the guy from CPS who says, you guys just love to crap on our time and call us up and text us and yak about the weather and yak about the... Think about it. Think about if you're calling me or talking to me, think about what you would do if you're calling a dentist. Will you sit and call and just chat? So I had to break this video because this guy just texted me another 10 times saying, I thought you did this, I thought you did that, I thought you did this. Hey, we're sovereign citizens and it's constitutional law and blah, blah, blah. Look, man, if you're doing the sovereign nation and talking about treaties, the Constitution says we're supposed to honor treaties. The Constitution also says there should be no new taxes. We're not supposed to have an income tax. Yet, tens of millions of you pay your income taxes, even though it's not even in the law. So I deal with the reality of what's really going on. I'm not here trying to overthrow all 50 states and judges and make them honor treaties and sovereign nation rules and law. I'm here trying to help do what realistically works to get you your kid. If you want to send me a book to read on my own time, I'm not doing it. You guys can stop with all this narcissistic, selfish diva bullcrap where you just send me stuff and say, hey, I found this. Read this, James, like I'm your mommy or daddy and you want a ribbon from me for doing some research. The guy texted me and said, you told us to do our own research. I said, yeah. But don't turn around and send me all your research just to read it to see if it's accurate or just for the fun of it. I'm not doing that. I got a life, you stupid, narcissistic dumbasses. God almighty. Dealing with a whole bunch of freaking children. Just had a guy last night call me at 9 p.m. last night, a day after his deadline to file something, trying to get me to help him file something. And 4 hours into the work, he's like, well, just keep it short and sweet after I just did a whole bunch of legal research. So I was done with him. Okay, I had to break away again. This guy just won't leave me alone. So these sovereign nation folks, what they're saying is true. They're so see. This is what's wrong with my freaking gender. This guy is calling me saying, "Hey, read this, read that, read this, read that. I sent you an email. Go read this." And I'm like, I don't got time for that. Don't you want to help guys? Don't you want to do this? I thought, what happened to the war? What happened to the fight? I'm doing what I've done and what works in my situation and what I know to help guys actually get their kids. All you sovereign nation folks want to go there. I've worked in the courthouse in criminal cases and seen people walk in an orange jumpsuit and come in and say, I'm a sovereign nation, I'm this, I'm that, and the court sends them right back in their jail cell in cuffs. So all your words that might be on paper in the Constitution, that's great. But if you got a judge who has power over you who doesn't honor it, I'm talking about reality and actually getting your kids. If you want to stand on legal principle and not win and not get your kids and then take your case to the United States Supreme Court, go ahead and do that for 3, 4, 5 years. But I'm not going to sit here and read all that bull crap just to entertain you. See, some of you prissy little megalomaniac, little narcissistic divas are in the situation you're in because of stuff like that. The guy that I was talking to, he was like, "Hey, I'm going to call you tonight after 7." And I look at my calendar. I'm like, I got a few hours worth of appointments after 7. I'm not available then. He's like, that's 4 o'clock your time, or I can't remember what he said. I'm 3 hours away. That's this and that. That's your time. I said, yeah, I know. I'm tied up at that time. Okay, well, I'll call you tomorrow after I get off work. and not even give me a time. Just think, if you call it a dentist, you get to call a dentist and say, "Hey, I'm going to come in after work." They would say, "I need to get a time." God, my gender's so stupid. I'm arguing with this guy back and forth. I don't have time. You can get a paid appointment and you can share all you want in that paid appointment. And then he's like, "You told me to do my research." Yeah, I told you to do your research, but don't come running back to me, sending all your research to me like, "Hey, Daddy, look, be proud of me. Look at all the research I did." And then you dictate to me how I should run my business and deal with people. I've seen hundreds and hundreds of these sovereign nation folks walk into court and say, "I'm a sovereign nation." There's a guy who, his name is Zeb something. He caught the courts, changing transcripts or changing the record, and he was outing them on it. And then he's in prison for like 15 years now for something, and he was standing on the sovereign nation stuff, and he's rotting in prison while he stands on the sovereign nation stuff. See, like, I'm not somebody who's going to stand on a legal principle that people don't honor or recognize so that I could just feel good in my emotions and feelings. That's what the Father's Rights Movement does. Well, I'm just going to ask for 50-50 because that feels good. And 50-50 is an impossible attempt if that's your goal, when the other side is sitting here saying you're a monster, domestic violence perpetrator, pedophile, and all that stuff. All that sovereign nation stuff is true. You know what's also true? You shouldn't have to pay for a license, um, all these taxes for everything, and government entities on every corner. All that stuff shouldn't be there. But uh, but this is what happens. A lot of you idiots, you find out something and get a revelation on the law, and you say, "James, come along with me on my individual ride in fighting the system or fighting the law. I want to take this path. You need to come along with me because you help guys." What the hell is wrong with you? I'm not your girlfriend or wife. I'm not coming along on your ride with you. I got other people to help. You think because you think you found out something that I already know, and I'm not talking about it everywhere all the time, and so you're going to inform me and make me follow it? The sovereign nation stuff is true, but the courts will laugh you out of the courtroom. "I'm a sovereign nation. You can't take my kids away." Boom, custody to the mother, no visitation for the father. You can't do that. They just did it. I'm talking about reality. If you go to court and you got every other weekend, or let's say 4 hours of no visitation, I mean 4 hours with no overnights, and then you go to court and you're fighting this and you're fighting that, and the mother is getting tired, and she says, "What will it take for you to just be done with it?" And then you say, "I want 50-50." And she says, "Okay." Or no, you say, "I want custody." She says, "What about 50-50?" If you're talking with me, I might say, "Dude, just take that instead of rolling the dice for the court." I'm not in here to overthrow the entire court system. I'm in this to get in, help a guy get his kids, and get out of the court system. Like, I was in and out of the court system for 20 years, not because I wanted to, not because it was fun, but because I had to. My baby's mom was dragging me into court. If I wanted more child support and found out she's making 3 times as much as me, and she's only paying me $300 a month or $500 a month, which is kind of nothing, and she's making, 9 or 10 grand a month, and I'm making a third of that, then I want a little bit more child support because I'm actually spending on the child. So I've had to go back to court for stuff like that. But I guess this message is twofold. The sovereign nation stuff and all, any legal principle or constitutional principle you stand on and saying the court doesn't have a jurisdiction over me. The guy, while I was doing this video, the guy was texting me, "Dude, it's constitutional law. It's in the law. They don't have jurisdiction." I'm like, "Yeah, I know. But while they don't have jurisdiction, they're making rulings, and cops are enforcing writs of habeas corpus. And there's court orders preventing you from seeing your kid, and restraining orders. If you violate them, you go to jail. And while you're in jail, you can say, 'I'm a sovereign nation. This restraining order is no good.' They're locking you up." You think that worked if Jewish people told Hitler, "I'm a free, ordained, sovereign nation being of God"? Like, come on, man, get realistic. That's great. If you want to fight and get a Supreme Court decision that changes everything for everybody, go ahead. But I'm not coming on that journey. I'm helping people now. I've already done my fight. I'm not coming on your battle because you just started. Don't be a rookie diva bitch.